We are back on MorningLine, coming to you live this morning on the Plus, as well as streaming live on Facebook at newschannel5.com. And you see on the screen there with us is Jim Shulman. He's the Vice Mayor for the city of Nashville, and we can take your calls and comments from folks. A lot of folks ringing us up now and following us on Facebook. Is there a difference between shelter in place and safe in place?
I think safer in place is what I believe the Mayor Cooper called it. And other groups are using it too. I'm not sure if there's a complete difference. Sheltering in place may have more of a connotation of everybody's locked down. Okay. So we're safer in place, that's what they're calling it. Obviously, we're still allowing people, essential folks, to get out, do what they need to, go to the grocery store. We're not in lockdown. Again, it's common sense. You know, how do you distinguish what's essential and what's not essential? We're hopefully people are using their best judgment and figuring out who's essential and who's not.
Gotcha. All right, let's take a phone call or two. We'll go to Carol. Carol, good morning. Hi, Carol.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My question is about the safer at home mandate, which I applaud the mayor for being proactive. If cases continue to rise even after the 14-day mandate, would the mandate be extended?
Yeah, Carol, that's a good question. You know, the hope is that, you know, within the next 14 days, which I think are very, very important, people do what they're supposed to. I've already said that before. You know, people stay at home, essential employees get out, non-essential stay home and work from home. It can always be extended. I think after watching what's been going on around the country, when you kind of say, okay, we're gonna, you know, there's no date at the end, people get really, really upset. This is tricky, but I like the fact that he put a time deadline on it. It's 2 weeks. That's very optimistic, but it does give an end. It's like, okay, let's do it, you know, in bits. So let's take these first 2 weeks. Let's do what we're supposed to, get people to stay at home, and then we'll see. Again, the whole idea is to, you know, flatten that curve, which everybody keeps talking about. You know, we don't want to inundate the medical system. Flatten the curve, stay at home, be safe, and then we reassess at the end of the 2 weeks. And he can always extend it for another 2 weeks. He can extend it, you know, for another period of time. But we're doing it in chunks. Let's take it a little bit at a time.
This is a health crisis, obviously, and so that's priority number one, dealing with what you just said. But a lot of people right now on Facebook, and some of the callers as well, are bringing up too the added stress on all this. And maybe you can talk about what Metro and maybe the Metro Action Commission can do. Is like a lot of these folks have lost jobs or they're off work right now, and they're not going to be getting a paycheck. They've got rent to make, okay? They've got utilities to pay. They have food to buy, and they're literally worrying about surviving, not just the virus, but the economic impact. I know the president has talked about trying to address this, and the governor as well, the mayor. I mean, what can be done at these different levels to help someone who's sitting at home right now like, look, my rent's going to be due here at the end of this month. Right. Okay, so is my utility bill. I heard one town is saying, oh boy, if you don't meet this deadline, we're turning your water off, which we're checking into. I mean, are there going to be orders to utilities to, look, maintain?
So if you go to the covid19.nashville.gov, there is a whole list of utilities and what they're doing at this point. Without jumping too far ahead, we've been working with the mayor's office over the last day or so, actually over the weekend, and we've been working on putting together a small business task force, which is going to bring some people in immediately to start saying, okay, so I run a small independent business, you know, I've got 10 employees, this is what I'm facing right now, this is what I need. Councilmember Steve Glover was heavily involved in the initiation of this thing. So we are working on that today. We hopefully will get all that taken care of, and it will be ready to go like today. I think the idea is to bring together people who have been impacted, obviously not just by COVID-19, but by the tornadoes. What do we need? So there are people working on this. We have, you know, as we're trying to deal with the health issue, we also have an economic issue, and people are sitting home, like you said.
Right. So it just from your gut, I mean, is it safe to say that at least if this stay safer in place order stays in 2 weeks, maybe longer, we're not going to see people getting evicted or having their power and water turned off?
So hopefully not. I mean, so I think there's the sheriff. If you look on that website, the sheriff is not following up on eviction orders.
Okay.
I mean, so obviously we're paying attention to this. I think what people need to know is that there are a number of people that are working very hard to figure all this stuff out. It had to be, in many ways, health first. What are the ramifications? What do you need to do to keep people healthy? How do we get control over this thing? How do we make sure it doesn't spread so that, it's 2 weeks, it's 4 weeks, or whatever. But that's the immediate thing. And that's right. People just need to understand that. Mm-hmm. But there's an economic situation as well, which is, okay, so now we've got small businesses that can't open.
Right.
What do we do about that? And then there are ramifications from that. What about the supply chains coming up? Our independent restaurants, you've got local farmers that provide that, so you got to watch that. And then you've got people that aren't working, and so how does the unemployment work? What's the best thing for them to do? And then what about utilities and rent and so forth? So everybody's working really, really quickly. Keep an eye on your local news stations, who I think are doing an amazing job of being very positive and trying to give you the information, and we're trying to get the information to you as quickly as we can.
And we're hoping, I think, Vice Mayor, that sometime, maybe later today, Congress will get together, and we're talking about a $1 trillion aid package that's going to be put together that hopefully will trickle down, obviously, finally, to cities like ours and help. So let's take another phone call. We'll go to Melanie. Good morning, Melanie.
Good morning.
Hey,
hi, what's on your mind?
I've tuned in late. I don't know if this question has been asked or not, but I'm not far from the testing site up here where the old Kmart was. And I was just wondering, do they know when it will be active?
Okay, and what area is that again?
It's off on Murfreesboro Road, where the precinct was supposed to be built.
All right.
The old Kmart site.
Okay, so let's talk to the Vice Mayor about that. We touched a bit on it earlier in terms of supply chain and whether or not more of these areas are going to open up. I don't know if you're familiar with that specific one.
Well, so if it's a metro site, so there are sites available. I know Vanderbilt has sites open. I think Nashville General is a place you can go. Meharry. You can certainly call the health department. I think the neighborhood health associations, United Healthcare, I think is United Neighborhood Healthcare is opening up a facility. But what I would do is at this point, if you have a primary doc, call them. If you're experiencing some symptoms or you're just nervous about it, call your doctor. If not, I'd call the health department here. Or there's a state number you can call, which is all on the website. I don't have it in front of me, but we can get it. You can certainly do that. In terms of the sites, if you're talking about a particular site that I think may look like it's getting ready, they're waiting to make sure they have the proper number of supplies. Again, there are places you can go right now. But we're trying to get the supplies in so we can open up more sites. So that's what I think she's talking about.
Have you heard anything with regard to the Nashville airport at this point? We have some people asking just about that. I mean, I don't know many that are flying, obviously, and hotels, are probably occupancy way down. But the airports, I keep waiting to see at what point, maybe flights are grounded,
I hadn't heard anything about that. Obviously, I know that the airport authority is taking tremendous precautions.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sanitizing things, they're going around cleaning all the time. And so, they want to stay open as long as everything is flying. I mean, again, we're encouraging people to use common sense.
As we go to the break, we have from Karen in Scotland. Maybe you can answer this for her as she's a visitor. She has a trip set to visit our beautiful city in July. Should she cancel, Vice Mayor?
In July. Stay with us for a couple of weeks and let's see. Don't cancel yet. So this thing, it's such a weird thing. We don't know exactly what's going to happen when it starts getting hot here. Mm-hmm. We're all hopeful.
Yeah, so much unknown.
Stay with
right
us.
now.
You might
Yeah,
come.
stay tuned on that. As we go to the break, you've probably already heard, though, the Summer Olympics postponed in Japan. So we'll see. We'll take a break. When we come back, more of your calls and more of your comments from Facebook. We are streaming live at newschannel5.com and on the Plus with Metro Nashville Vice Mayor Jim Shulman. We'll be right back.
Storm 5 weather update. Well, weather